So we're heading into lunch here. People back home in Alaska are just waking up. And if you're waking up in Anchorage, where my son is, the price of gas at the pump is $3.89. That's probably the lowest you're going to find. If you're waking up in Fairbanks, where my sister is, it's about 20 below already, probably just a little bit colder than that, and it's going to be cold all week. If you're waking up in Antioch, you're waking up to the reality that it's not only cold and dark, but that the price that you pay to heat your home with stove oil is $6 a gallon. So this is a reality for Alaskans that they are facing every day when they wake up. And so when we see, as Senator McConnell has mentioned, the impact of inflation on the cost of everything else that becomes part of their life, they're looking forward to Thanksgiving just as we are here, but I'm told that it's about a $300 dinner for a little bit of roast beef or potatoes or onions if you're going to be welcoming your family in Utqiagvik. So that's a pretty tough, happy Thanksgiving. The real problem that we're facing here, and Senator Barrasso has referred to this, our problem is the supply here. And so when you have enacted policies, as this administration is, that only serve to reduce our domestic production, that's a problem. The world is missing its swing producer right now, and that's us. That's the United States. So, of course, we're seeing the prices soaring. The markets have turned from this expectation of abundance to really the fears of scarcity. So there's a few things that we can actually do here. We can actually stop with the bad rhetoric, the bad policy, certainly. But let's figure out how we are working to keep our energy affordable. We can do this at the same time that we're working to reduce our emissions. We can be responsible that way. But we know that supply side restrictions don't work. We had a hearing earlier this week in energy. The easy answer is we just take from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That's going to solve it. There's no easy, quick fix there. But we know that blocking needed energy infrastructure is not going to be helping us. So, 3 things that we can do. Drop the hostility against American energy producers. Just stop. Don't try to put them out of business because that's not going to help anybody invest in our country. Drop the harmful resource provisions that we see over on the House side in this reconciliation bill. Just get rid of them, delete them. They look like they're actually written by OPEC anyway. Take a look at them. And third, the administration needs to start moving and approving major projects, or at least expressing their support of them. And those of you that know the Alaskan cause know that we talk about the Willow project up in the National Petroleum Reserve all the time. So you can start there. But we got some work to be doing together, but it starts with the right policies.
Well, not only is this bad policy, but I think the key issue here, and we'd love it respectfully if you guys can ask the White House again, this is purposeful policy. This is purposeful policy. The White House isn't a bunch of dummies. They are purposely driving up prices on Americans for energy. How do we know that? A, just listen to the rhetoric of Gina McCarthy and others, the czars, where they say that limited supply will increase prices and that will, quote, accelerate the transition to renewables. Go ask them. This is purposeful. The second reason we know it's purposeful is just look at the policies. When you limit production of American energy, when you go to kill energy infrastructure like pipelines, when you go and strong-arm the financial institutions of this country, which they're doing, saying don't invest in American energy. Oh, by the way, definitely don't invest in American energy in the Arctic, which is called Alaska. This is the result. You now have a comptroller of the currency nominee who has recently said, just a couple months ago in a seminar, part of the policy mix will be to put out of business small oil and gas producers. This is purposeful. And it would be great if you guys could just blatantly ask the White House, are you trying to drive up energy prices on the backs of hardworking Americans? The answer is yes. Listen to the rhetoric, look at their actions, and they're very successful. And they're harming working class families. Here's the final point. This administration is so out of touch with those families. You had the White House Chief of Staff recently tweet out saying high energy prices, inflation is a, quote, high-class problem. What the heck does that mean? The White House press secretary on these issues is starting to look like Baghdad Bob. Some of you might remember him during the first Gulf War. These issues are exploding all around the White House, and they just ignore them, like there's nothing happening to working families. You know, the Secretary of Energy has talked about releasing the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We have a much better idea. There's something in Alaska called the National Petroleum Reserve of Alaska. Tap that. That's what Congress intended it for. And some of you were here 2 weeks ago when we laid out a common sense, all of the above energy plan that can actually reduce emissions, but play to our strengths, which is abundance and export technology in clean burning American natural gas all over the world. That would reduce global emissions while expanding job opportunities, helping our foreign policy. That's the route we need to go, not crushing American energy and hurting working families.